I manipulate the core of the images, which is like the data set. I'm going through like an array of data and just tweaking things, and that makes me have little to no control of what is going to appear on the screen.
PixelFull,
Hi,
how are you?
good. Thank you for having me here.
Welcome to Basel.
Thanks.
Welcome to WUF, this magical place. So I want to start to the beginning.
Okay.
Why did you choose this name, PixelFull?
Right. So I think I've spent like quite some time in the past years doing research, and I think for 3 years or so it was mainly theoretical research and basically not producing any work. And at some point the research got really deep. And I used to have this belief that for my art to be taken seriously, I had to be like extremely quiet. I had to be like super serious about everything. My work had to be contained. The colors had to be contained. And at some point, like I thought like it was fine to be like that. But then I also wanted to do something more experimental. And I wanted people to pay attention to whatever I was saying. So although like the research was still deep, I wanted like to explore ways to make people to understand what I was saying. So I decided to go to the opposite way. So my first thought was like, I need this dumb, playful name where I'm this persona and where I can somehow relax and let it go. And I thought about the name, discussed with a few friends, and then it felt right for the purpose of this.
PixelFull.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, this foolish name.
And so, how do you consider yourself? I mean, what is the philosophy behind your work?
Yeah.
When did you start also?
Yeah, so I've been like, I went to art school at the age of 16, like my first experience with art. Like I didn't have a family deeply connected to art,
Okay.
but I had somehow like got interested into computers, and it always felt right to me to be around computers. Eventually I discovered I could publish things online on the internet, and that was kind of this magical moment, like, oh, I can do stuff, I can share online, and people can see it. So the first thing was the internet, like, oh, I can publish stuff, and it was kind of natural to go to the visual way of doing it. My first creative experience was with music. Like my grandfather was a musician. He used to have a lot of instruments around his place. And I think that was like the first impulse. But when I discovered about like the internet and publishing stuff, I decided to try visuals. So that was like at a very early age, like 12 or something. And then I realized, I learned that I could make a career out of it. Like it was not just this playful thing, just like this dumb thing. So I went to art school at the age of 16, and since then I've been like experimenting with a lot of stuff, like photography, with sound art, but mainly in the past 12 years or so, I fell in love with like generative art and art made with code.
Okay.
At some point, I was studying painting, and I really enjoyed it. But I used to see like other painters, and I used to read about painting, and I've always seen people saying how the easel, the brush, was this natural thing, almost like an extension of the body. But to me, it never felt like that. Like painting was always like this very like difficult to progress thing. But somehow with computers, it always felt natural. Like I could just sit and sometimes even before thinking about stuff, like seeing like the work progressing. So yeah, so in the past like 12 years, it's been mainly like doing code that generates something.
And did you rethink about the net art of the 19th?
Yeah,
In
so
some way.
yeah, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like a lot of the artists that influence me are mainly what we would call net artists, like, and eventually I became friends with a lot of them, and to this day I still see like, I think specifically because I'm from Brazil, we were just talking about this a bit early, like I've always had this feeling that I was somehow like disconnected from the global art scene.
Yeah.
But the internet is this very democratic place where you don't have like to ask for access for anything. So luckily, I think like I had the chance to be in contact with a lot of artists with the art scene through the internet, and it's kind of like obvious to end up like seeing a lot of the net artists, people like Rafael Rosendahl, like Nicholas Sassoon. There are a lot of people that have been really inspiring.
So do you have a lot of references?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
This kind of work.
absolutely.
And so, could you explain how your work born?
Okay, so this project uses code to generate images in real time at the browser.
Okay.
I use this very famous library framework called P5.js.
Okay.
I've been doing most of my work with P5.js or processing.
So it's not IE.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay.
It's all like crafty, terribly made code because I'm not a coder.
Yeah.
I just like to experiment. But yeah, this is code, and the idea here is it's not although it feels formal because it's very visual. It's way more about the process here. So what I do with this piece is like I manipulate the core of the images, which is like the data set. I'm going through like an array of data and just tweaking things, and that makes me have little to no control of what is going to appear on the screen. It's very
It's like to do a paint.
yeah,
In a certain way.
Yeah.
You didn't consider yourself as a painter.
No,
No,
I don't think so.
absolutely not.
No, but I think so.
For example,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
did you print this?
I didn't.
No, never.
No. I've never printed my work.
Okay.
And sometimes, like I'm still considering the option of doing so, but I'm really interested in just the screen. One of the reasons why I use like these chunky pixels is because I try to take the utilitarian aspect of computers out of my work and try to maybe switch the attention from like this. So computers have been very about representation of something. We have like the operational system, we have the trash, we have the windows.
Yeah.
And I think that they used to be like made just for tasks, like, oh, so you're going to use your computer for a spreadsheet, for managing sales, for making calculations for the skyrocket. But now, like, they've been shaping our society. They are with ourselves like all the time. So I think what I've been trying to understand, and like those are questions that I don't have answers for, but I've been trying to understand like if art can, through computers and through the screen, be a source of the kind of experience that we would have in nature, for example, where you are not trying to attribute any meaning, but you feel something, and then I have this feeling that my work has to most of the time stay at the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about the artificial intelligence? Are you interested?
I am. I think it's like, I mean, it's everything is very early,
Yeah.
and we have like a lot of things to be concerned about. Like, I think like it's really difficult to imagine that AI is going to like be too different of the neoliberal system that we have. So, but like related to art, I've been seeing like a lot of artists doing amazing stuff, using it in the process. People that have been using AI for quite some years now. And as with any tool, there are like good uses, bad uses. We do have critical things to be concerned about, but in general, it's just like, I think it can be really exciting if done properly. And I think there are artists that have been doing it like amazingly.
Cool. So another question, could you tell us about your future projects?
Yeah, so, okay, I think it's hard because everything is so fast.
Yeah.
At least to me, like, I don't know, like, sometimes I look at the lives of other artists and it feels like people would do things at a very slow pace. Like, oh, you look at 6 years of a career, and sometimes there is like a gap of like 10 years where nothing was produced. But we live in this moment where you have to be constantly producing. So I keep promising myself that I'm going to take it slow, but I'm not doing that. So I think like my main concern now is that so as I mentioned at the beginning, like at some point I took like 3 years just for theory, just like studying, trying to understand why I do what I do. And in the past years now, I've been just like been producing a lot. So I think right now I'm expecting to like go a bit back to that, like trying to refresh the conceptual side of the work. But yeah, I think for now that's it.
There's no series that you work currently, or?
I do have one more, so I have like this happening here in Basel, and then I have also an exhibition happening in Mallorca.
Okay.
In the following weeks, and after that we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
But who is your collector type in general?
Huh. So yeah, so I think that it would be difficult to describe because I took the decision to make a lot of my work widely available.
Okay.
At some points, like I would have
So on Google, on
and I mean also like for being collected. So
Okay.
At some point I would release like a lot of editions,
Okay.
and I think to this point I may have like, the last time I checked I had like more than 3,000 collectors. So I think there are a lot of types of collectors. There are people that are looking for something that is quite exclusively. There are people that are looking for something that is more democratic and cheaper.
Okay.
I think it's like, I like to explore both ways. Like I like to make my work widely available sometimes for people to have it and to consume it. Probably because of this relationship with the internet and how I could consume the work of so many artists because of it. But then you also have like sometimes you're working with galleries, you're working with like institutions, and then you have like another kind of collector that is more like wants to have something very unique or something like that. So I think I have a lot of types of collectors, and I appreciate all of them.